In the early days, companies could report whatever they wanted when it comes to carbon. It was the Wild West, really. But today we have auditors that care, we have banks that care, and we have consumers that need to know the numbers above. The Greenhouse Gas Protocol, the standard that allows you to measure emissions with confidence, developed 5 key principles. And if you understand them, it makes everything easier when it comes to making decisions on how, when, and who should be involved with measuring carbon emissions in a business. The first one is relevance. The measurement needs to reflect your business. And if it doesn't help to make change or make decisions or find mistakes, then it's not really done correctly. Why should you measure something that has no impact or no relevance? So that's the first thing you have to look. Are you measuring something that is really impactful? The other thing is aiming for completeness. Let's say you have a business with 5 factories or 5 offices, and one of them was really falling behind and doesn't have the data available to the measurement to begin with. You could say it's too hard task and exclude that measurement. If you do so because it was too hard, well, it's not really complete. You are missing 1 of 5 factories. So the objective is to ensure that whenever you're doing this activity, you are being as complete as possible. The other one is a really tricky, is being consistent. So if you do something one year, you want to try to do the same thing next year so you can compare apples with apples or the progress over time. Why is it hard? Well, businesses change, technology changes, suppliers change, and so the way that you go about your measurement might change over time. And the tricky part is explaining to everyone what changed. Because if you don't share it and the number just fluctuates, well, do they fluctuate because you actually made a change? Or do they fluctuate because you've changed how you measure? So being consistent is really, really important. If your math is consistent, well, that's great. But what is important as well is, can people see what you've done? So transparency is the 4th pillar of the Greenhouse Gas Protocol. It's basically addressing all issues with a clear audit trail that allow others to replicate and find mistakes in what you've done. This might be internally, but also externally with audits. And I like to compare this with, scientific processes and how people write papers in academia. You need someone else to check your work to make sure it can be replicable. In a sense, without an audit trail or explanations, your report is just pretty pictures, really. So tell people what work you've done so they can look into the fact. So if you treated carbon just in a static spreadsheet, it'll be really hard to see how things change over time. It's possible, but it becomes hard and there might be mistakes. That's why the last principle is accuracy. We need to ensure that we are not systematically over-counting, under-counting, and changing things. When you follow these 5 rules and principles, you're not just doing compliance, another task that adds a burden to your business. You're actually building a system of change. The same way that companies track every KPI on marketing and sales, and they force over CRMs and how clean they have to be and up to date. We should be enforcing the same systems when it comes to carbon measurements. The level expectations should be the same, and sustainability can be linked to revenue generation. And that's the goal, is changing how people look at carbon accounting and drive interest, drive transparency. In the next videos, we'll look at the details and the scopes of the Greenhouse Gas Protocol. So if you are involved and interested in understanding how measurements work and how you can report on them, follow along.